All right, welcome back to another episode, Beauty Beats and Balance.
Hello, hello, hello.
Glad to be here with you beautiful people.
Yes, and we are recording on time.
On time. We're sticking to the schedule, sticking to the script.
And we making it work.
That's right, that's right.
Balancing it out.
That's it. It's a beautiful day out.
Oh, it's a beautiful Sunday.
Yes, it
We
is.
went to church.
Did.
And we got a good word.
Yeah. Been celebrating birthday all weekend.
Yes.
So we still
Got to
celebrating.
say happy birthday to Walter, the chapter 41.
Happy birthday, Walter. Hope you have a blessed birthday, blessed year.
Yes, another beautiful year. Yes.
Of course, 41st birthday. So of course, right now that's really, significant with all the stuff that happened in the past week and the Kobe Bryant tragedy. We were actually right here when that happened, so we're gonna get into that a little bit later on. If I can maintain my composure and keep it together, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, y'all. Let's pray Walter and keep it
I
together.
know the real ones feel me for sure.
Yeah, because this happened, a week ago?
Yeah, a week ago.
This Sunday, so a week exact ago. Yeah. So, but we're going to talk about something a little lighter.
Yeah.
Talk
So
about
we're talking about
my weekend in New
right,
Orleans.
your girls trip for.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it was a girls trip / business trip.
What's the percentage on that? Because every time I talk to you and your three amigos who were with you, y'all know who you are. Every time I talk to you, y'all were either about to get into something or recovering from something,
I
or
wasn't recovering.
Continuing what was happening. So yeah,
I had to catch up.
What was the percentage of business versus?
50-50.
Yeah, right. All right.
For me.
Okay, right. Okay.
So for one, the conference, which was called Serious Business 2020, it was an event.
And where did it take place?
New Orleans.
Okay.
And it was pretty much thrown by Neil, but pretty much a beta. I'm thinking about partnering with the Veda, with the salon. But yeah, it was amazing. Ooh, I'm so glad I went. It pretty much what we talked about in the past. I'm sure if you guys follow the podcast, that we always talk about being in a room with people that you aspire to be like.
Come on.
And
I heard this today. So that the whole my guy I have the
So that was pretty much that on steroids. I was in a theater full of people that was doing the things that I want to do, and that's creating a culture, creating a team, creating how to keep creating beautiful salon experiences.
Brand, all of that.
Yeah, how to build a brand, how to keep your employees happy, how to keep your clients happy, giving them the ultimate experiences, creating moments. I got like 2 or 3 books because of this conference, and it was just super duper inspiring.
Yeah, I can only imagine just being in like I said, in the room with all those like-minded people and the energy and just the vibe and the takeaway.
It was like the TED Talk of hair.
Very good.
And I'm going next year. Like, it was so amazing. You know how God works. So I immediately met this guy from Tampa. His name was James. He owned like 3 salons. He was so inspiring to me. He was basically like, I told him I'm pretty much starting over, starting fresh. And he was like, I started with 2 stylists. And, so it was just so inspiring to me. I felt like that's what I needed to jumpstart this new phase of, AP hair care, AP salon boutique. So I'm like super inspired.
That's what's up. That's good stuff. I could tell, you were telling me, texting and sending me notes about the gems you were getting and all the good stuff. So
some good stuff, y'all.
Yeah.
And one thing that I had to realize too, just if you're an entrepreneur, is that I gotta really like dive in and do the work. And sometimes you want it to be easy, but I really just have to realize that I'm gonna have to make some sacrifices, and I'm gonna have to really do the work, and that's okay. Because when you do the work now, you'll benefit from it later on. And I know I owned a salon for 9 years, but did I put the work into it like I could have? No. And I saw what the benefits it reaped. And even though it was a great learning experience, I want to do something different this coming the next few years, and so it was definitely a great jump start, which I knew it was going to be. I was so excited about this conference, and so
you said it was going to be good.
Yeah, and just to jump off 2020 with that kind of conference, it was all about clearing the mind, and we had sound baths and meditation, and it was just, it was awesome. So thank you, Serious Business 2020, and I will be back.
What's the I guess what's the ratio to, not that it really matters, but like, you know, when you're in a conference like that, like the white versus black, like is there a lot of, you like a little,
well, you know,
or other nationalities, you know, in the hair game?
Well, because I feel like a majority of African American salon owners run their business a little different. It was a very low percentage of black people. It was maybe like 5%.
Okay.
But you know, again, it's a different. I think we see business differently, and so I just want to be a trailblazer in my community to, you know, give you guys a different experience in the salon, and also build a legacy for my children. That's always first and foremost. So.
Okay.
Thank
good.
you, what is it? Thank you, Serious Business 2020.
Okay.
It was amazing, and shout out to all the awesome speakers. And if you want more information about that, you can just Google Serious Business online.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, y'all made it back in one piece, and y'all.
And we made it back in one piece. Shout out to April, Chaz, and Jada, who also made my trip amazing. And we ate good, drank good.
Right. In what order?
Shop good. Yeah, it was amazing. I love New Orleans though.
Yeah,
good
New
food.
Orleans is good.
Oh my
New Orleans is
gosh.
good.
I will be back again.
I always do good at the casino in New Orleans. Right there, with Harold's on the river.
Oh yeah. I went to a restaurant next to that that I loved. So yeah, it was great.
Good deal. Well, we got to plan us a trip to New Orleans and get.
Yeah, I want
get
to take the
back down there.
girls. I want to take the girls to New Orleans.
Have they?
I don't think they've ever been.
They haven't. No. We might have to do that. Okay. All right. So that was your conference. That was the hair conference and all of that. Let's talk about let's do some Memphis. Let's do some music. Let's
The
keep
Grammys was
Yeah. So we just had the Grammys
on Sunday.
That was on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, so
Sunday was
the timing of that, yeah. So
lows,
the Grammys at the Staples Center in LA.
Ooh.
Same damn day Kobe died. I can only imagine that was rough.
It was just a day of
Yeah.
lows and highs.
It really was.
Yeah.
But the Grammy Awards were Sunday, and we had a lot of people from Memphis that were nominated for Grammys. One or two people won the Grammys.
Shout out to Memphis.
Yeah, Memphis is really doing a lot of things. I say it all the time, you know, with the Memphis music scene and all the stuff that's going on. And the spotlight is really on Memphis right now. So I'm just happy to be a part of that and intertwined with that, and just looking to see all the great things that are going to come from that and out of Memphis. My girl Jaza, she won the Grammy for writing on Old Town Road.
Oh, she won the Grammy?
She won it, yeah.
Okay.
She won it. And,
I didn't watch the Grammys.
Yeah, we did. I didn't either, yeah. But they did, the news did come and film us in the studio, and I haven't been able to locate that article or that story. So if anybody has that, send that to me. I'd like to.
I want to see it.
I'd like to take a look at it. A couple of partners of mine, they hit me up and said they saw it. They said my beard definitely made an appearance in the story. So yeah, I want to see that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jaza. She did her thing. Southern Avenue, another band from here. They've been making a lot of noise over the last couple of years. I don't think they won, but it was again, it's great to be nominated and shine the spotlight on Memphis. To Caitlin Carr, I think she's been nominated 3 or 4 times in the gospel world. I didn't do my proper research. I don't know if she won either, but just congrats and good luck on that. Even if she didn't, continue to do what you're doing.
But just to be nominated.
Yeah, exactly. Bobby Rush, you know, Bobby Rush, 80, he might be 87 years old. He rolling, but I ran into Bobby Rush about a year ago at an event, and he's still kicking it like he hadn't lost a beat. He really dropped some great knowledge and wisdom on me and who was with me? Brandon Lewis. Shout out to Brandon, artist here in Memphis. He dropped some good knowledge on us and just talked about his career and his life and how to keep it going. And he was saying, you might not hear all his songs, all over the radio everywhere, but he's been doing 3 or 4 shows a weekend for I think he said 30, 40 years. So you do the math on that. He's really been doing good with that. So shout out to him.
Did he win a Grammy?
I didn't do my homework on that. I don't know, but he was nominated again.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. I know Jaws won. I know Jaws. Maybe that's a little biased because we've done some studio sessions and stuff. I work with her, so
Lord,
yeah, shout out to Josh. But
another one that keeps in the studio all night, by the way.
that's,
all night long.
That's all good, but we making good stuff. Some other artists that you heard of course, here in Memphis. Gotti dropped a new album Friday. I like that. It's pretty hard. Bag, he's doing this thing continually. K. Michelle. So all of these people just really dropped new albums, and they just really putting on for the city, making a lot of noise.
So what is Gotti doing? I saw him put something out there talking about he's trying to make the hood great again.
Probably so.
His thing?
I think I haven't seen that, but I did see where him and Jay-Z were wrote a letter or petitioning about
that
prison conditions down in Mississippi.
Have you seen that video?
I haven't.
Ooh.
I can only imagine though.
Why did I put that in my spirit?
Yeah,
I don't even know why I clicked on it.
And that I think that penitentiary down in Mississippi that's notorious and for being one of the
worst.
Yeah,
gotta be.
Yeah,
These men were being stabbed.
Yeah.
The living conditions was awful.
Yeah.
The cells were bloody.
It's a prison in Mississippi. I mean that.
Oh Lord, it was a mess.
You can say that, and then that tells the story. A prison in Mississippi.
Oh Lord.
So I can only imagine.
I don't even know why I clicked on it. I don't even watch the news. So why did I click on that? I don't know. But I saw Gotti. I saw, them petitioning about it. So I was like, well, let me see what's going on. I didn't think it was gonna be that bad, but it was awful.
I can only imagine. I might.
But I did see Gotti in Rich Fresh clothes.
Yeah, everybody in Rich Fresh.
But I thought that was cool. Memphis to Memphis.
Yeah. So it's a lot of it's just a lot of stuff happening again for Memphis, for music, for the development of the city, for the growth, for everything. And I really think it's our turn, it's our time again. And so I think we're poised and positioned to really take advantage of it this go around. So just everybody, man, just shout out and support and love everybody doing their thing and artistically, and whether it's music, fashion, whatever. Let's just keep it going.
Yeah.
Keep it going. Also, some producers. A lot of producers. Take Key, Hit Kid, Real Red, like all these guys, man. Some other guys I didn't name, but they making a lot of noise. So y'all keep doing what you're doing.
Okay.
All right.
Good. Memphis is always doing
things. Yes. And of course, Made in Memphis is at the forefront of a lot of these things. That's a little plug there for my employer there. So we're for you. Recording studios, Beetroot Distribution, Heavy Hitters, Sync Licensing. Anybody interested in any of that, holler at me. Right. All right, so we got all that out the way. Yeah. Anything else you want to touch on or talk about?
Well, one thing I want to touch on is just take up a little bit of time, is that what I heard at church today. And they're talking about basic series on molding and clay and all that. So one thing that he talked about today was that, God made us out of dirt and clay, and he molded us. But one thing that he talked about was that he put stuff in us that we didn't even know was there. Strength in us that's we don't even know is there. And so when we go through things, when we get pressed and we go through hardships and we go through struggles, that we never break. We're just molded, and that we have strength within us that God put in us when he made us. And so that inspired me today, because I need the strength to push through to this next phase that I'm trying to get into. And it's going to take determination and some struggle and some hard work. And I'm just glad that I got that word today, because I hadn't been to church all year, even though it's February. But I hadn't been to church all year, and I feel like today I needed a word. And so I went and I got a good word today. So that was just a little message. I'm glad.
That's good. And I, just kind of piggyback on that. I think that's a good point. Like it's stuff that's in us, and people say like sometimes you can't put things in people, but you can pull it out. Right. And so it's like God, we've been built or blessed with these things in us, and it takes certain situations or circumstances to bring those things out, to bring those qualities, that character out. So I can agree with that. I think that's really good.
Yeah.
I would like to heard some of that today.
Yeah, because he was working. But it's okay.
It's all good.
I worshipped alone. But it was fine.
Good. Okay.
So now we will address Kobe.
Yes. So, if anybody that's in our age range or just just period, we grew up with Kobe Bean Bryant, and we saw him come in the late 90s, 96, 97. Took the NBA world by storm, did his thing. They won championships, had his ups and downs, all of that. But as a young man, you know, it was good to see just somebody like that we could just relate to, because Jordan had come through, done his thing. You know, of course, Jordan is always number one on my list, but Kobe was close second. And you know, me and my guy, we always, you know, compare Kobe and LeBron, all of that. So it would just be years and years of comparison between the two. But Kobe was a real basketball hero. He was because I mean, he just went through so much on the court, and you could see the determination and the drive and the sacrifice that he put into his craft and what he was doing. And so for him to be taken along with his daughter and the other people, you know, that was just really tragic. And you know, we see these people on TV, you know, never met them in person, but see them on TV. You watch their life, you watch their story, and so they're like a part of your family. They're a part of your family. And
yeah,
again,
and I don't even watch basketball that much, but you still knew who Kobe was.
Right.
And it was heartbreaking for me as a woman who's really not a sports fan, but just the fact that he was a father of girls.
Yes.
And just to show how close he was to his girls. To me, it seemed like he put his all into basketball when he needed to, but then now that he was off the court, he retired, he was putting his all into his children.
Right.
And that's what it was like. Ooh.
And I think he even said, you know, we mentioned his competitive drive and nature, and so it was like once he was done with basketball, done competing, he had to channel that somewhere, because if you got that in you, you still got it. So he was like, okay, let me champion you know, women's sports. Let me champion my daughters and their basketball career, and let me start going to these WNBA games and doing this AAU basketball, and really just trying to be
maybe just being a good dad.
Just being a dad, yeah, and spending time with him and all of that. And so it was just real tragic for it to happen the way it did, for his daughter to be with him, and just at this point in life when he was really about to get started on the second part of his life, the second half.
Yeah.
And again, you know, you put in all that hard work, all that struggle, sacrifice, blood, sweat, tears, pain. I mean, even, you know, he went through the trial, the Colorado thing, just the public, you know, embarrassment, the situation with him and his wife. You know, they were able to reconcile. All of that, he put it all behind him.
I even judged Kobe over there.
Oh, I was telling somebody the other day, you hated Kobe during that time.
I did not like Kobe over there, but then I had to realize that he was younger. And people do make mistakes, and they change and they grow. And Kobe, I'm sure, just looking at him as a person and all the stuff that they covered Kobe, I feel like when he went through that changed him. It was like, you know how some people, it's like when you go through something like that, it's like completely turns your life around. And I feel like that's what happened. Even though at the time I was like, oh my God, you know, but when I feel like just looking at him as a man after that, he just made a complete turnaround in his life. And then to give him all girls, and you know, and the way he loved on his girls, it was almost like he was like, you know, let me do it the right way. But yeah, I was one of those people. Yeah,
and you know, like I said, I was telling somebody that, and even some guys, you know, sports fans, you know, they would when we would have these conversations. I told you about the battles about who's better, you know, Kobe, LeBron, Jordan, whatever. They would always throw that dirt on Kobe. That would be one of the things. That would be one of the things that they would say. And you know, we'd be like, I have to be like, let's keep it on the court, because you know, outside of the court, everybody got, you know, things that they do or whatever. But I would always say, let's keep it on the court. So that just goes to show that it wasn't non-basketball fans that would get, it was real basketball fans that were Kobe fans, but
were. They would bring that up?
Yeah, they would bring that up. Yeah. So you know, just all of that. But again, you know, everybody, you know, make mistakes. And I think some people are even, you know, have a problem with the way he's being celebrated, because some people might be tied to that, more closely tied to that Colorado incident or whatever. So I've been seeing some reports about that. So you got to understand that, you know, if you were...
And people need to know that people change. Like, especially if you're a Christian, you believe that you're forgiven and you repent and you change, and I feel like that shows in his character and what he did after that. And that showed what he was doing when he passed. You know, I just thought about it, how on a Sunday, how even what we were doing on that Sunday, we were with our girls. You were spending time with your daughters, just like any other father probably was taking their daughter to a game or practice or ballet practice or soccer practice or gymnastic practice, and he was doing the same thing. He was just being a dad. And that just showed in his character that, you know, he was just a dad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even though he was Kobe Bryant, he was a dad.
Right.
And to take him away like that was just tragic.
Yeah,
and it could have happened to anybody.
Right,
But it happened to Kobe.
Right, right. And I think the beauty in that is with that happening, you can tell it's brought people closer together.
Yes.
It's brought out the love and humanity. It's brought people are more aware of, okay, we get so caught up in the things, right, and the Monday, right, and the routine and that you're doing, but it's like when you take that minute to sit back and pause and say, okay, these things are really important. Family is really important. Spending time with the people you love and you enjoy are really important versus, you know, trying to make more money out of time or get a promotion or be at the job or this or I want to show this and do that. Like just step back from that and recognize the beauty in family and love and life. And I think that's what this tragedy has done. I mean, I'll be honest, like I really, like, I've had tragedy in my family and stuff I've dealt with, and I think everybody deals with things differently. But like honestly, like when this hit, like I really cried. You know, so I cried like some real tears because not only for Kobe, the basketball guy and the basketball hero, but again, he was a father, he was a husband, he was all of these things to so many people, and to be taken in a split second like that, tragically like that, I understand the pain of that. And if you don't know, my family, it was a tornado hit Memphis back in like '94 and killed my father, my youngest brother, and my uncle. So I understand the
in the blink of an eye.
In the blink of an eye, like we were just, it was a couple days after Thanksgiving, we were hanging out, and I don't talk about this all the time, but I don't really have a problem talking about this. But the suddenness, the magnitude of how tragic it was, that's the part that really kind of hit me, because I know that there's family at home that he's not there with. I know there's a wife, there's a mother that's there with kids, and he's no longer there. And a few hours ago, everything was cool and it was normal, and now everything is turned upside down, and for the rest of their lives, they have to live with the thought of, my dad was just here, he's gone tragically just like that. The siblings, they have to live with their sister is no longer there. So not only is it the father, but it's the siblings. Like I lost my father and my brother at the exact same time. So I understand the hurt. And I think some people, even though it's a tragic thing and there's people understand the pain, but I don't, unless you really, really been in those shoes. And so I think that's what really hit home for me the most. Yeah, we love Kobe, the Laker, the basketball fan, but that's somebody's father. That's somebody's husband.
Like I told everybody, it hit Walter a little differently.
Oh yeah.
It hit him a little bit.
And I, of course, I don't show a lot of emotion when it comes to things like that, but like this really, really broke. It's really tore me up inside, because I know what his family's going through. I know what they're dealing with. I know what the next years. It's been 20 years for me, but I know the next 20 years for them. I know what their process is going to be.
Yeah. And
my father, he was known in the community, but he wasn't Kobe Bryant.
Right.
But again, in this community, he was a big figure. And the way the story parallels, like, my father, he had built up the business, built up a career, built up the family. We're starting to see the success. We were in a brand new house, all of that. Everything was going good. We moving on up. And then bam. It's just over, just like that. So I tell people all the time, and anybody that knows me personally, we have a conversation. I get into these deep type of conversations because I know what's real and what's fake. And people get caught up in material stuff and stuff that's not real. And we gotta break out of that. And so I think Kobe's tragedy again is just God used him as a tool to bring people closer together. Yeah. And that's how you have to try to look at it and rationalize it and make some sense of it.
Yeah, and one thing that stood out to me though is that I hope that, like you said, the good that comes out of it is that I hope that it also made men aware of what you leave behind.
Yes.
Because no day is promised to you, but what are you leaving behind as your legacy? Right. Just like with your dad left behind a legacy. Your dad left behind stability, for his children and his wife, and that's something that Kobe, of course, Kobe left behind for his children and his wife and his community, and probably people will never know.
Yep.
But I think that was something that I feel like should be a wake up call for men too. I mean, and women too, but just for men, is what are you leaving behind? What are you going to leave? What's your legacy going to be? Because you could walk out the door and not come back home.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that was a wake up call for a lot of people too.
Yeah. But like I said, for men in particular, for black
for men.
and
black men, black men.
Because and then you see all the expressions of black men. You see don't see men crying. Like you see men crying. Like I talked to some partners I ain't talked to in years, and we just because of this tragedy we've talked and like, bro, man, I love you, man. I know I haven't seen you. I love you. You always know, it's love with us. So just reaching out to people. And just like you said, just being aware of your legacy, what you're gonna leave behind, what you're trying to leave behind, and because you just never know, and we get caught up in it, and I think I was telling you about, I was sitting there watching the Kobe stuff all day Monday, and I was just kind of in a funk, I'm constantly watching like, man, it still doesn't even seem real, but it's just to see, remembering Kobe on the screen and 78 to 2020 is like that. It's not even real. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't even, it still hadn't even really sunk in yet. So I'm at the house all day Monday doing that. I'm like, okay, let me get out the house. Let me try to get back, to a nice place.
And I was getting a massage.
Right. and I'm, just the magnitude of, here today, gone tomorrow, here 1 second, boom, boom, boom. I'm sitting at a light and I see a horrific accident. And I'm like, come on, God, like what?
I even questioned it, so I'm like, God, what's going on? What are you doing in Walter's life right now? Because man,
come on, so
and Walter has been in several.
Oh yeah, I've been in throwing out a car myself. So I've been. My life has been spared. I say that my life has been spared on numerous occasions.
And this is why I tell him God wants you here for a reason, because He has spared his life so many times,
right.
And it's like you have to listen to that. You have to see, okay, well, God, what am I here for? Because Walter could have been gone.
Yeah, a few times.
Yes, and so but I feel like those few days. Yeah. I don't know. God is.
Yeah, and I can honestly say it's the last week. I think it changed me forever. Like my life has really been changed forever, and my outlook and the way I see things has permanently been changed just over the past week. And like I said, when that wreck happened, and man, I don't know who those people are. God bless them. Please let them be all right. But the lady, it was real bad. She was thrown out of the vehicle. Like I'm sitting there watching all of this happen, and on top of being in the funk about Kobe, so it was like, okay, like sometimes you have to sit back and say, okay, what am I doing? What's my purpose? What am I trying to do? What's my intentions? Because again, I could be gone tomorrow. I could be gone in an hour. So let's make the most of it. Let's do what we got to do. Let's stay on track. Stay focused. And I'm speaking to y'all, but I'm speaking to myself as well. Right. And so anybody and everybody, let's just
and stay loving.
Yeah, pull together, love on your family, love on your folks, and just
it ain't worth it.
Yeah, all petty arguments and disagreements, and like I can't. That's one thing that. So with all the stuff I went through, I can't stand to see family feuding and not getting along. That shit just does not make.
Wait a minute.
No.
But you feud with me.
No, we're not like that. You know what I'm talking about.
I know.
But I don't.
You leave the house mad at me. Just like.
I don't understand. We don't do that. I don't understand that because I've lived through situations where a family is here and then they're gone, and then all you have is a memory or. Wish I had said that, or wish I could have done this, or I wish they were here now. So, look at the people you love. Tell them right now I love you. Hug them, kiss them, and love on them. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so that's real. And again, thanks to Kobe for the life that he gave, the inspiration, the Mamba mentality. Yeah. Like people say that, but they don't really understand like the Mamba mentality is like. Whatever you're doing, go hard, be the best. Forget what they saying. The naysayers gonna talk. Do what you're gonna do. Be the best. That's why LeBron is chasing Kobe right now.
I thought they passed him.
No, He passed me points. Don't get me started now. But even on that,
alone is like crazy.
That it happened the night before.
Right. That's crazy.
Now shout out to LeBron. That speech was a little long, and
I didn't watch the speech, y'all. I can't.
You know, I got. Hey, you know who I'm talking to. You know I had to get it in. You already know.
But yeah, I know that, I mean, you can't question God, and and I was talking to one of my clients the other day, and it was like Kobe was gonna pass regardless. That was God's time for him. Even if it wasn't in a helicopter, it was gonna be something. But we do know that something good is gonna come out of his death.
Things
are happening. He shifted the world.
Yeah, he really did. It wasn't just basketball. It wasn't just black. It wasn't just LA. Like it's worldwide.
He shifted the world, and it's tragic. This is just gonna be something we'll never forget. We were just leaving from the salon. We were having us a good old time. Walter shampooed our hair, and then Walter was like, "Damn." Yep. And I never forget that because I'm like, I know his dams. And I was like, "What?" He said it again. Damn. I said, "Oh Lord, what?" He was like, "Kobe." I said, "Oh, I knew it. I knew when he said it." I said, "No." I said, "No."
When I saw it on the phone, it had the TMZ thing, and I was like, "Oh, this is just some fake news. Somebody put like it's a fake story or something." But then, like I saw something else, and then I kind of read. I was like, "Yeah, this is for real."
Man.
That was rough.
And and people are gonna talk about that it could have been prevented. The pilot should have never flew. And that's true. He should not have flown that day. But again, it's God's time, and we can't question God's time. And man, but it's gonna be hard.
I mean, and the thing is, it could be anything. It could be a helicopter crash. It could be a car crash. It could be a
heart attack.
It could be a tornado.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It could be
anything.
It could be anything.
Yeah.
But you gotta live with that mama mentality. Live life to the fullest.
And it's propelling me. Because it's like how much time do you really have?
How much time do you really have? That's the question. How much time do you really have?
You don't know.
You don't know. None of us know.
So be the best you can be with the time you have, and try to touch as many people's lives as you can. That's one thing I had to, because I'm trying to figure out my mission statement for my business, and what is your mission? The mission for my business, the mission for my life, because that's my life's work, is hair. It may sound shallow, but that's my mission.
That's how you touch. That's how I touch
people. Right. That's how I touch people.
When people are sitting in your chair, you are, you're mentoring to them. They're confiding in you. You're giving them encouragement, love. Right.
Yeah, and so, you have to figure out what your mission is in this life.
Yep.
And what. And it's not all about money, because when you're doing what God put you on this earth to be, He's going to reward you anyway.
Come on.
He might not reward you with that range, the car you want, but He's going to give you everything you need to fulfill His mission for you.
And just like we said before, you've already got everything you need inside.
Yeah.
You gotta let it come out.
But don't look at like you gotta get the biggest house and the best car and have the best things. That may not be, because look at Kobe. He had everything he ever wanted. Yeah. But what now? What can he take with him?
Right. Yeah, I heard somebody. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, but he has the memories of loving on his family, his daughters. Every time I saw a picture of him kissing his babies, I was just like,
it's rough. It's just rough. I can't even imagine. Woo. I can't even imagine, losing a child, losing a daughter, and then just having to, explain to the other one where where your sibling is and what happened, and you're not gonna see him no more and all that. So that's the.
And it hits home a little more for us because we have daughters.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Hashtag what is it, Girl Day?
Girl Day. Yeah.
And y'all. I'm gonna say this because it's our podcast, and again, this is R.I.P. But me and somebody, I ain't gonna say the name, we were talking about the fact that the girl dad hashtag was all big now, and so people were saying was shouting out there the fathers of the girl dad, but it was like we were like the real meaning behind girl dad was the dad with all girls, but they were like girl dad all the fathers of girls. It's like. Okay. I think it was just for Men were just girls. I'm just saying. But hey, shout out to all the dads.
Oh yeah.
But I think girl dad was meant for dads with all girls. Like Kobe.
And shout out to the girl dads that are girl dads all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, but what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, I heard somebody say about like you talking about the helicopter and everything, and he shouldn't have been right. I mean, that's how he chose. That's how he did it. He said, I think it was an interview or something. He was like, he was getting to the point where the traffic and everything was really interfering with his workouts and stuff he was trying to do. So he was like,
and to get to his girls.
Right. So he was
like,
like,
pick him up from school.
Right. So I can jump on the helicopter, go train at 5 a.m, get back, take them to school, go work out some more, and then jump out in time. He said in time to get in the car line. You know what I'm saying? That really hit home. I said I'm in the car line 3-4 times a week, so I know how it feels to be in that car line. And
he wanted to be in the car line.
And I look forward to being in the car line because no matter what kind of day I'm having, when they open the door and get in, it's just like it's bliss, it's heaven because we talking about their day and everything, and they bring that energy. So people gonna say what they want or whatever, but.
And that's why God blocks those things out for me. Because I don't want to hear negativity about him jumping in a helicopter. He was Kobe freaking Bryant. I mean, he's not the only person that jumped in a helicopter to go do what he need to do. And apparently, LA traffic is awful.
Shit, I ride a helicopter to avoid that 385 traffic. Take me downtown. Let's go. 5 minutes.
You get there about 2 minutes.
Drop me up on top of the farm. I'm right here.
Oh Lord. But that was his day to day. And like I said, it was just their time, not just his time, their time. Tragic though, because 3 children, 3 girls that passed. Yeah. And I ain't gonna lie, I feel bad for the families that passed with him because it will be overshadowed.
Of course.
I mean, it is sad.
It is. It really is. It's really sad.
Because I don't know who, we don't know who those people were, but I mean,
I feel like the name, I don't know, Artabella, and it was one of them.
I don't know.
But but I was thinking about that too.
But I pray for their families because I think it was a couple who was just traveling with their daughter, but they had other children, and then the mom had passed, had children, a husband.
Right, the husband like, what am I gonna do now?
But of course, Kobe's family set up a foundation for their family, and they're gonna be taken care of. But we pray for them, but they don't have their loved ones anymore. But again, it was probably their norm. They probably jumped in the helicopter with Kobe too. Right. Like, let's go. But just like you jump in a car and crash, God's time. But we knew this one was gonna be a little heavy.
Yeah. I was telling my partner, he's like, y'all gonna talk about it? I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm ready. I'm ready for that one yet, but I feel like
a week.
Yeah, we had a week, and it's like even now if I see images of Kobe, man, it just rips a hole out because it's like you just think about that's Kobe Bryant, and you look at him like Superman, like indestructible, he'll never. Like I saw somebody was like, I think Dame Lillard, he was like, when I saw it, I kept waiting on reports that it was a helicopter crash, but Kobe Superman, he jumped out, you know what I'm saying, before it hit. I was like, but that's how we think about Kobe. Like he just invincible, and all the stuff he did on the court, all the stuff he went through, the way he was.
I thought about that too. I was like, what if he would have jumped out?
That's just crazy thinking.
Yeah. So. But it's just hopeful thinking.
Yeah.
Wishful thinking, but.
Yeah.
Woo.
It's sad, it's rough, but again, I think
But I can't wait to see what good comes out of this.
Yeah, it's already coming out.
And but even on down the line, just like what's gonna change with the WNBA, his daughter made an impact, and she was such a mini-me. She looked just like him.
She looked just like him. That's I just can't.
Okay, I can now. That's one thing I can't talk about the babies because it's gonna make me cry for real.
I can't imagine.
But yeah, she was a beautiful girl, and I hate that her life was cut so short.
Their memories will live on for sure.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
All right, So.
Are we gonna end
that? Anything else you want to add?
No.
Okay. I think that was heavy enough today.
Yeah. Okay. But I'm glad that you made it to chapter 41.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm looking forward to what you're going to accomplish this year.
Got some big things hanging.
Yes. And look forward to some changes on my end with AP Hair Care and AP Salon Boutique. We're under construction, as you can see.
She got
we got some new stations
stuff
coming.
I gotta do today.
He got one more to put together. You know, he takes his time.
I got other stuff happening.
But you know,
okay.
I try to stay calm and lucky.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
But yeah, so doing some upgrades. But that's it.
Okay. I got some new music I'm working on. Let me throw a little plug out
Okay.
there. I mean,
I'm
I'm not the artist, but I'm producing and working with some artists here, and got some nice stuff coming out soon. So just be on the lookout for that.
Okay.
A little bit of got some gospel, some inspirational stuff. I got some rap. I got a little bit of everything. I got my hands in a little bit of everything right now. I'm really trying. I'm really trying to transition from one area and really focus on another area. So we in that transition type process.
Speaking of music, Kirby came out with a new album.
Yeah, what's up, Kirby?
It's really nice, y'all. Y'all gotta check out Kirby. Follow on IG, Kirby Sings. Is it Kirby Sings? Sing Kirby Sing. And she got a what is it, EP? Is that what it's called? Okay. And it's called Sis, S-I-S. I've been posting it on my page, but go check out Kirby. She a bad girl. Yep.
And always follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and to the page.
Subscribe. Yes. But thank you guys for listening to us.
Yeah, allowing us to share and continue to share with us and be with us and support us. And we're gonna keep trying to do these so we can encourage and be a blessing for y'all as well.
And be a model.
Yeah.
A model of marriage. We say it later, right? That's what we say. But we are definitely gonna pick back up next episode with our listener questions, and hopefully we'll get some dates with some guests. I tried to get that rolling, but I was like,
we couldn't do it today.
Yeah, today was a little heavier. So, but tune in, and like I said, thanks for watching and listening, and